It's the end of August. In Ashland, Oregon, students at the Wilderness Charter School are preparing for their first 2 weeks of school. A backpacking trip into the wilderness.
Okay. Let's go.
They don't have far to go. Ashland is right on the edge of one of the world's most important temperate forest regions, the Klamath-Siskiyou ecoregion. This is a rugged, mountainous area on America's west coast, straddling the border between the states of Oregon and California. The ancient forest of the Klamath-Siskiyou is home to a great diversity of species, many of them rare and endangered. Some of its trees are very old and very large, growing here long before the first Europeans arrived. It's a place of fast-moving rivers and remote terrain where Bigfoot is said to dwell. Visitors come here from all over the world. But this region has also seen heavy logging of its valuable trees. And its rivers have been dammed in many places. But in spite of these sometimes drastic alterations to the landscape, more than a third of the Klamath-Siskiyou's old-growth forest remains, and long, wild stretches of river tumble freely through this land. How is it that much of the Klamath-Siskiyou remains intact? And will this trend continue in this ancient sylvan paradise? On the banks of the Rogue River, which flows through the heart of the Klamath-Siskiyou, a feast is being prepared to celebrate the return of the salmon as they make their annual migration up the river from the ocean. This gathering, held by Native Americans for thousands of years, is taking place on its traditional site, where a Takelma Indian village once stood. The keeper of the sacred salmon ceremony is Agnes Baker Pilgrim, the oldest living descendant of the Takelma Indians.
We prayed for the salmon people because my people believed that salmon looked like us, and they lived in beautiful cities below the ocean floor. And every spring and every fall, they took on the shape of the salmon to come back up the rivers and streams to feed us. And we pray that they hear us and that they will come back more and more to feed us.
The wild rivers that cut through this rugged land were once so full of salmon that it was said one could walk across the rivers on their backs. That's how it was when the first Europeans arrived in America. They found an abundance of immense forests, about 1 billion acres of them. Stands of mature trees, hundreds to thousands of years old, were widespread. On the west coast of North America, an unbroken forest stretched from California to Alaska. But by the 1800s, those trees were being steadily felled by a newly established timber industry, spurred on by the California gold rush. With the coming of the railroads in the early 1900s, the pace of logging operations greatly accelerated. After World War II, the Pacific Northwest saw another surge in logging to supply wood for house building. Clear cutting became common. But in the Klamath-Siskiyou ecoregion, enough of the big trees escaped logging that today one can still experience the magic of an old-growth forest.